second win.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, at least a little bit more of a game here. Unicorns of Love made some adaptations, and the Elise going so far ahead together with that Shen, was that the key here for them to at least do something?
I think the key was the fact taking Elise, trading it for Sivir, and having something they could flex with. Shen could go support, top lane, that's exactly what I wanted from them. It worked in the early game. That's a start.
Yeah, first blood coming in there for Horo as well, and that tower dive, so definitely making something happen.
I mean, that's what you want to do as Elise. You want to be in a position where you have lanes set up that can poke the enemy down, and then you come in with the Elise and straight up dive someone. That's Elise's strength currently right now, and we have seen it many times, even in Game 1 from Fnatic, where Reignover was the one who was doing the dives and everything. But yeah, it's not enough because Elise has a kind of fall off in the mid-late game, where she doesn't really do nearly as much as an Olaf. And if you're not far ahead in that game, you won't win the team fights, and we have seen that. Fnatic did one really bad dive, I think. The idea was good, but the execution was a bit bad.
Let's take a look at it. Yeah.
We have a replay, we can look at that.
Yeah, we'll take a look in a second, indeed, where it ends up being really, really good for the Unicorns of Love and Power.
So yeah, we see a good engage from Yellowstar here. Actually was really good. And Huni comes in, of course, melts Barak down instantly, and then Visicharge is under the tower again, baits them in, and then Reignover wants to go for the kill. But here's like the really important part. Everyone is backing out already, whereas Reignover is running into the enemies because he has to run out of tower range. And then that causes the team to kind of bait in because skill shots have to be blocked, and Fabibon gets caught, dies, and then Huni tries to turn again, gets locked, and then Reckless has to kind of block the skill shots again, and then we see them, the snipe coming in. And this was really important because Ezreal got the chance to kind of skip his really early mid-game, and it gave them kind of a glimmer of hope to actually win this game because they skipped the weak phase of Ezreal and he became a threat.
I think one of the biggest factors in that fight is because Forbidden has to come in and block the skill shots from killing Reignover, he actually does no damage. He has his ult up, does absolutely nothing in that bot lane engage. So it was basically Fnatic hamstringing themselves, as everybody has said. But just interesting to see that, you know, if Forbidden wasn't in that, well, as he wasn't in that fight, enemy mid laner takes over and Power of Evil gets so much from that. But unfortunately, just isn't enough. Even though he was like 5-0 at the end of that game.
I mean, it wasn't enough, but to be honest, the Unicorns of Love didn't do anything with that. They kept grouping, and they couldn't make the pickups with that advantage.
The thing is, if you group, you kind of lose against Azir, Rumble, and all those kind of picks are way better at team fighting. What you want to do with the Ezreal is you want to either poke them down under the tower, be in a sieging position, or you want to just catch them off guard, because Ezreal has so much burst that he can just one-shot someone. But they were never in a position where they can be, and then they got baited into this very stupid thing in the bot lane, got auto-tated, and then they got pretty much aced. And yeah, I think strategically Fnatic just playing a way better game and better understanding of how to use their comp properly.
I would like to also just pinpoint this Ezreal pick. Like, before the Runeglaive nerf, I even disproved it. After the Runeglaive nerf, I never want to see it again, because it does not restore mana when you hit champions or minions in the lane. And with that in mind, it's just better to play without Smite and buy a Morello instead. It just makes no sense. You run out of mana, which you saw multiple times.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If you're the Unicorns of Love, you go into this series, everyone has said you're going to have a really hard time winning this. They probably realize that as well. Why would you show anything else if you're going up possibly against H2K for a spot at Worlds?
I'm thinking like Ezreal, I don't think even if they hit it, nobody would care about it. It's like...
The problem is, though, here is we looked at Power of Evil's champion pool in comparison. We know Power of Evil doesn't really want to play Azir. We know he can play Victor, but it hasn't been available. His champion pool is fairly outdated when you look at what is in the meta.
Or that's what he wants us to think.
Well, I mean, okay, but at the same time, if you want to look for the spot to go to Worlds, then at least try and perform against a team like Fnatic, who a lot of people will say, while they're likely to place in the top half of Worlds, maybe even top 4, if you want to place high at Worlds, you're going to have to beat better teams, perhaps, depending on how the international skill.
The thing is, what I'm thinking is, they had a very good early game composition. They could have snowballed it with the Shen and the Lees. I think they should just go all out on the early game. Why pick the Ezreal? They should just pick the Syndra, which is also something that is considered an early game pick. I don't think Syndra is good, but they like Syndra, and of course Power of Evil is a good Syndra. I think that is something they maybe should pick up against the Azir.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So yeah, the important, I talked with Defish already about it, how to beat Fnatic, and we always mention TF and Globals. So we saw the Shen coming in. Maybe a TF, if Power of Evil could pull that out, that would be actually really good, because simply how Fnatic plays out the game around Baron at like 20 minutes, 4-man group into Baron, have Huni on the bottom side of the map, and then maybe try to out-pressure them or at least get something, because right now Fnatic just takes everything without them even having to do anything for that.
I'm just thinking, like, overall for this series, like, Unicorns of Love need Gandalf the White to sweep in and help them out. But last time I checked the rules, you're not allowed to bring in Faker randomly into a best-of-5, so it's unfortunate.
And Sheepy's beard is the wrong color as well, so it's just all bad. So we've been theory crafting what the Unicorns can do. We also asked the people at home which champions should be key bans in this matchup, and at Fingality tweeted, I think the key bans will have to be Yellow Star supports, specifically, Annie and Janna. But yeah, so much else too.
I need to kind of comment. It's like the kind of ecosystem, I don't know if it's the correct word, let's call it ecosystem of bot lane. Is every support kind of has a counter in a way. And I don't think there's a need to ban, like Janna is understandable because there's not like Nami and Sona is considered good against Janna. So those champions are out of favor right now. Annie though, as long as Alistar is open, there's no point picking, like banning the Annie. Like you could respond to an Alistar ban with an Annie ban because like Alistar is considered to be the hardest counter to Annie, but you won't see like an Annie, like Alistar top lane just to compensate for the bot lane matchup. That is just too bad right now.
All right, well, at least thank you for your help, Pingality. You guys can remember to keep hitting us up at LL Esports with which champions are key bans. And also, if you have any questions for any of us here on the desk, use the hashtag AskTheDesk as well, so we can talk over that. Now, the Unicorns of Love, they're on the ropes in the semi-final matchup, and they need a win to keep the series alive. We'll be back with a look at Game 3 right after this.
Looking to even out the score, 1-1. Shot being blocked, there's no true shot for all. Nearly flashed for the Winter's bite, but it ends up biting him.
Go. Flash. Nice.
Good job.
Sivir flash there, can that? I'm
getting
the
I'll
mid is 20 Sivir.
I'll hold. Maybe even Sam.
Guys, good job. We need towers, guys.
Ghosts up as well. The engage finds Power of Evil. With him out the fight, a lot of the damage is removed. Vortex gets crit down. One game away from guaranteeing an appearance in the World Championships.